passion and interest as Hurricane Harvey made landfall, and I'm thinking about faith in action, where inaction is one word. Because, in the wake of that disaster, people were taking shelter in the bookstore, in the shoe store, in the bowling alley, and yet some of the churches. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. They're begging you to help your fellow man. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. But you won't help them even though you can. Now Houston had a mighty flood, but somehow it's your name that's mud, 'cause you just want to keep your carpets clean. You swore that there was no access to your door, and you're right, I guess, 'cause you made sure to keep it locked, Osteen. You offered up your pious prayers, but your prayers couldn't answer theirs. They needed basic shelter and hygiene. And even when you let them in, how long was it before beginning to pass the collection plate, Osteen? Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. You preach about the Good Samaritan. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. But you won't help them even though you can. Your mansion is a testament to living like the 1% with marble tiles and pools of emerald green. Your smile is white beyond compare. You're even slicker than your hair. Your suits are so expensive, it's obscene. Back in Bethlehem, you'd be the one rejecting them. Yeah, take a hike, that's what you'd say, Osteen. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. It's what you call the gospel of prosperity. Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen, Joel Osteen. What do they think this is, some kind of charity? You would have had a selfless attitude, but no one asked you to, except Jesus, dude.
Roy Zimmerman. Some Unitarian Universalists came up to me after a concert I gave and said, with a very spiritual look on their face, "I just don't think that you should use mockery in your writings and in your songs." I said, well, Jesus used mockery quite a bit as a teaching tool, and if it was okay for him, I believe I'm going to keep on with it. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. We are a spirited and spiritual community dedicated to the free search for truth and meaning. I'm very glad to see you here. If you have questions about this faith or about this congregation, please don't hesitate to ask the people at the visitor table, and they'll do their best to get some answers for you. We come from a long heritage of teaching that there's a spark of the divine in every person. So the way that we greet the divine in our midst is by turning to the person to our right and left and welcoming them here this morning. Will you say with me the words by which we light the chalice, which is the symbol of our faith? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our call to worship this morning was written by Alfred S. Cole. You may possess only a small light, but uncover it. Let it shine. Use it in order to bring more light and understanding to the hearts and minds of men and women. Give them not hell, but hope and courage. Do not push them deeper into their theological despair, but preach the kindness and everlasting love of God. And now, if you will rise in body and or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 193.
A mission is something that has power to guide you if you're working together with other people. This congregation wrote its own mission 7 years ago, wrote it on the wall, and we've been saying it together every Sunday. We gather in community to nourish souls, transform lives, and do justice.
How many Mozarts are born among the poor, taken by hunger or by disease or war? Where is the music that we might have heard if fortune was to say they should stay? How many live and die and never know their worth, toiling in darkness by an accident of birth? And can we truly hope for justice on this earth someday? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Do that again. Keep going. How many Mozarts are born among the poor, taken by hunger or by disease or war? Where is the music that we might have heard if fortune was to say they should stay? How many live and die and never know their worth, toiling in darkness by an accident of birth? Can we truly hope for justice on this earth someday? Some born in hunger become prisoners of need, and some born in privilege become prisoners of greed. When will the people, and I mean all of us, be freed to find a way to say we shall live in peace? We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. And as we teeter on the brink of war again, and build our monuments to vain, ambitious men who talk about the road to peace, I wonder when on earth will they lead that way? And as power is passed to the most fortunate of sons, who spend their genius making money, making guns, will there be peace and justice for the humblest ones someday? But deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday, and we'll walk hand in hand someday, and we shall live in peace some way.
would like to call a member of the membership committee who is going to lead this reception of new members, and I'd like to ask any new members who have joined without being able to go through a new member reception, which is this right here, right now. Please come up front with your order of service, and we will meet you.
Stand right here next to me. Anybody else?
There were
Okay.
6 in the first service.
Ah, the early birds. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. So hang in there with me, and as soon as we're done, you can introduce yourself. Good morning, everybody. I always love doing this. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of welcoming our new members, and it's so exciting to have new members. Anytime you all have a chance to come to the new member class on a Saturday for 3 hours, you get to sit and speak with the people who are considering membership. It's a lot of fun. So look at the calendar and come join us on a Path class someday. All right. So what is this church? It's not the building, except to the extent that we have chosen it and made it ours and adorned it with the fruits of our time, treasure, and talents. It's not the minister, but we all know what a large part our minister plays in making this place welcoming and beautiful. Except to the extent that we ask her to inspire us, and she does, and work together with us toward our goals. It's not the music, though we all know it's some of the most beautiful music in Austin. Except to the extent that we are lifted by it and that we make it, when we blend our voices together to produce sounds lovelier than any one of us could, make alone. It's not even the beliefs, for we Unitarian Universalists have no single unifying belief, only the combined beliefs of each one of us. This church is the people. Without me and without you, this church is nothing. It does not exist. Buildings may fall down, ministers move on, music may go out of tune, and beliefs may falter. No matter. We are this church. And without it, it is nothing, but with us, it can be anything.
We the members of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin welcome you into our midst as we share with you the joys and expectations of membership in our congregation. We offer our support to you, pledging to encourage you in any way we can. We make no real demand, believing that each person continually develops personal theology and that we are all folded together for lives. Together we search, we serve, we grow, and we love. We invite you to join us as we live out our mission.
Having indicated my serious intention symbolized by the signing of the membership book of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin, I hereby take upon myself the responsibilities of membership. I will seek to act as a moral force in the world, locally and globally, developing my own path of spiritual growth while encouraging the same in others.
Reverently, we covenant together to seek and promote a vision of right relationship, the deepening of character and service in the world. We begin with ourselves as we are, and we come together to support and maintain this free religious community. We welcome you, Rebecca. We welcome you, Rebecca, with love, support, and encouragement.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Rebecca Lawrence, and I'm so very delighted to be joining your community. Thank you for your warm welcome.
I love when Mary Patrick goes off script. She says, I could do more. She has things to say. If I ever get abducted by aliens in the middle of the sermon, we know who can come up and start covering.
I'd like to invite the young and young at heart up for the story for all ages. Thank you. Oh, careful. Giraffe? Oh, giraffe. Okay. I was like, I don't see a giraffe. How is everybody doing this morning? Good. I love hearing that. So I have a picture book today. This is a picture book that Reverend Meg actually brought to me to read, and I read it, and I thought it would be a really, really great story to read today. And it's kind of funny because it's kind of a gray, drizzly, rainy day outside today. And the name of this book is called After the Storm. I know. It's like I planned it this way. I didn't, I promise. And to the grown-ups, since you can't see the photos, I will leave this at the lifespan table if you want to look at it after service. So this book says, to everyone who stands on the side of love. After the storm, everything was a mess. Miss Kitty Whiskers had already cleared her yard. Meanwhile, Grandpa Russell was still raking dogwood leaves into piles, and as he bent over to look closely at a family of earthworms he accidentally uncovered, the wily wind came up from behind and blew a pile of leaves over the fence right into Miss Kitty Whiskers' nice, clean yard. I know. How dare he? She presumed that Grandpa had deliberately thrown his leaves into her yard. She pounced over and hissed angrily at Grandpa, blaming him for the wind's mischief. Grandpa had no idea what Miss Kitty Whiskers was yelling about. Without a word, Grandpa gathered up his dignity, stiffened, and stormed back inside the doghouse. Grumbling to himself, he didn't notice the doggy dish until it was too late, and he tripped over it, and he growled at Grandma Russell for leaving the bowl where he could trip over it. Grandma cleaned up the spill with a frown in her fur, and she didn't bother to kiss Grandpa's boo-boo either. Later, when Papa Jack came home from work, Grandma barked at him to wipe his paws. So Papa Jack grudgingly sulked back to the mat, but he forgot to announce, "Honey, I'm home," which he always did. So Mama Jacqueline worried that he must not be very happy to see her. She didn't complain about her hurt feelings, but when Jack Jr. bounded into the playroom, Mama Jacqueline snarled, "Go outside now!" Yeah, she's mad. Which he did. And he picked a fight with his poor sister. It was no use for Jackie to chase her big brother. He easily outraced her to his bedroom and locked her out. Jackie made a really mean, awful, terrible, gringly, ugly face. Baby JR thought that this was way too funny. He practically laughed his fur off. Peering over his newspaper at Baby JR, Grandpa started to chuckle, and Grandma had to grab her belly. Jack Jr. and Jackie stopped growling and started howling. Just like that. That was perfect. Till the whole pack of them were rolling around in the dirt laughing, and Grandpa laughed so hard, fleas bounced right off of his head. Miss Kitty Whiskers, who had just finished re-raking all of those leaves into a nice tidy pile, heard all the commotion across the fence. And she couldn't stand it another moment. So she climbed on top to take a peek, just in time to see the naughty wind blow those leaves right back into the Russells' yard. Oh my. So I wonder, how can we be fair to others when we don't know the truth. And that's the end of this story.
Good morning. I'm David Overton, and I'm the Denominational Connections person for our church. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about the Wake Now Our Vision program, and this is the little handout that's inside your order of service. And I'd like to start with a story. Way back in the 1940s, Carolyn Veach was a member of a Unitarian society in Long Island, or on Long Island in New York. And she decided to remember her church in her will. Her legacy gift included some shares in a company that she had inherited, and she didn't know much about it, but it turned out they were shares in an oil company. And after she died in 1953, it turned out that those shares were worth a lot of money, enough to form a program that continues to this day and has been able to make generous grants every year to hundreds of UU causes. In 1971, one of the Veach grants enabled the UU publishing division, Beacon Press, to publish the Pentagon Papers. That's just one of hundreds of examples of where Carolyn Veach's legacy gift made a difference far beyond anything she could have imagined. Today, another Veach grant is again making UU history. The Veach program has committed $5 million to the Wake Now Our Vision Legacy campaign. This money will be used to match legacy gifts made in 2018 by UU members. Here's how it works. If you include our church or another UU organization in your will, or as a beneficiary for part of your 401k or retirement account or life insurance policy, a matching donation from the Veach program will be made now to those organizations. The match is equal to 10% of the legacy gift. So for example, if you decided now to leave $10,000 to the church will get $1,000 from the Veach grant now. And you don't even have to write a check now at all. For a long time, my wife Mary and I we'd always intended to do something like this. But like a lot of things, we just never got around to it. This campaign though, and when we learned about it, this campaign and the 10% match finally got us to take action. If this is something that you've been thinking about, or would like to know more about it, I would encourage you to take advantage of this program. I'll be in the gallery after the service to give you any more details. Legacy gifts are a great way to translate our values into action. And just like Carolyn Veach, they can have an impact far beyond anything we can imagine, hopefully sometime in the distant future. This Wake Now Our Vision program allows us to also make a difference right now. Thank you.
Our meditation reading this morning was written in the 1930s by the Universalist minister Max Kapp. For what my eyes have seen these many years, and what my heart has loved, and often I have tried to start my lines, Dear Earth, I say, and then I pause to look once more. Soon I am bemused and far away in wonder, so I never get beyond dear earth.
Will you please enter into an attitude of meditation and prayer with me, where we can speak or listen to God as we understand God, or listen to our inner wisdom, or just follow the breath as it comes in and out of our bodies. It is in this silent place that we can seek clarity, compassion, understanding, where we can feel that we are loved. Please enter into the wise silence together, understanding that in this congregation, tiny noises of children and noises of life are part of the silence. You're invited to light candles of joy or sorrow. I'm going to start by reading you a story from my first, it's not really a story, it's just a thought from my first book called Rock of Ages at the Taj Mahal. And the story is, the thing is called All Will Be Well. All will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. This is one of the mantras used in the Christian meditation tradition. Don't think it comes from a dewy-eyed Pollyanna. The woman to whom it is credited, Dame Julian of Norwich, is the same one who, when her mule got stuck on a mountain road in a rainstorm, dismounted, shook her fist at the sky, and shouted, "God, if this is how you treat your friends, it's no wonder you don't have many." Lately, I've been experimenting with repeating all will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. I try it out in different situations. Sometimes I feel stupid affirming that all will be well. And what about things that aren't well and aren't gonna get well? It's hard to see the whole picture from where I stand at this point in my life. You know the story of the Chinese farmer who had a fine horse show up in his pasture one day. And "How marvelous," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. His son tried to ride the horse, and the horse threw him, breaking his leg. "How awful," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Then the emperor's army came through town to draft young men to war. The farmer's son was spared because of his broken leg. I can't tell, in the grand scheme of things, whether things are turning out well or not. To affirm that all will be well is difficult. There are child abusers and torturers and disease and oil spills and a multitude of other horrors in this world. Here's what I do know. I know that I have a choice between hope or despair when viewing the world and my future. Each choice has equal evidence in its favor. Each is affirmed and underscored by my life experience. How do I decide between them? I choose the one thing that brings more joy, more healing, more compassion to my life and to the world. In despair, I'm no good to anyone. I stop functioning. When my mother lay dying of cancer, she said to me, "Maggie, everything that happens to me is good." That was a statement of her faith. I was a cynical 23-year-old seminary student, and my mother's faith sounded naive and silly. I was in despair over her suffering, but she was not in despair, and it was her suffering. Suddenly, it seemed presumptuous to despair over her suffering when she was choosing not to. As I experiment with this mantra and risk feeling stupid, which is a feeling I despise, I ask myself, which is more stupid? To despair my whole life just in case things aren't going to end well? Or to live in joy and hope my whole life whether or not things are going to end well? I'm going to keep singing this mantra to my fears. All will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. So I'm talking about faith this morning, and I grew up in the Christian tradition. I grew up in a Christian talking, Bible reading family. It was everything in our family. You could not have a conversation without it, Christianity. So faith reminds me of all of that, and I think of the verse from Hebrews that we used to just say about, well, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I would say it, but now, this week, as I read it over and over again and try to think about what it means, I just can't figure it out. I have no idea what it means. By the way, somebody told me one time in another church far, far away, he said, "Meg, I love watching a good argument. And when I hear you preach, it's just you up there, but I'm hearing a good argument." So I'm afraid today's going to be a little like that. So I thought about what does faith mean for me, and faith, I always used to teach that faith meant to act as if, that you act as if something is true, and that is having faith in that thing. And so I act as if I have an inner wisdom that guides me, and I act as if the truth will ultimately be revealed, and I act as if the other drivers on the road are mostly sober, even though that might not be completely true. There was a writer named Jean Newar, who's a UU, and she wrote a book called Fluent in Faith. And her whole chapter on faith, I struggled to understand. But she talked about experiential faith in the religious education department and how she loved this curriculum which allowed the children to make homes for their little treasures. They made nests and they made boxes, and then they made bigger boxes that they could be in and their friends could be in, and somehow this making of homes for seeds and thinking about homes for animals and homes for your treasures spoke about faith to her. And she tells the story of a rabbi who asked a whole shul full of children at his synagogue, "How many of you believe in God?" And he said the children just looked at him. And then he said, "How many of you have felt close to God?" And the hands went up. So when he asked about a lived experience, it was so much easier than asking about something more abstract. What do you believe in? I grew up in the Presbyterian church where what you believed was very important. And we used to stand up and say what we believed. I'm going to say it. There's the first few words of it, so if this is a trigger for you, just put your shields up. You think I'm joking? So we used to stand up every Sunday and we say, "I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son," and we go on the whole Apostles' Creed. And I tried to believe it. I tried. When I started asking myself, do I really believe this? I was like, I don't know. And my trying, I think I tried really as hard as a person can. I went to Princeton Seminary for 3 years and asked my professors and asked the fellow students, and now, how does this work again? He died for my sins? What if I don't really have, I'm a really nice person, and he's like, "Let's start from the beginning, Meg. We are all miserable wretches." I was like, I don't really feel like that. And so toward the end, I started standing up, because I was married to a Presbyterian minister too. I started standing up and saying, "They believe in God the Father Almighty." Got me through for a year or two. And my sister would say, "Just let it wash over you, Maggie. Just let it wash over you." And I'm like, "No, I can't. My brain has teeth." And it goes, what? No, no, I can't let it wash over me. We've got to take it apart. So I love also the interview with Carl Jung, where the interviewer said, "Dr. Jung, do you believe in God?" And Carl Jung said, "No, I don't believe. I know." I thought, wow, I like that. So as faith, can we reclaim the word faith by just saying, okay, what do we really know? Like Oprah has in her magazine, things I know for sure. What do I know? What can I rest in? What's a little nest for me? What is my home? Where do I feel at home? Where do I feel my whole spirit say yes? And my whole body say yes? And sometimes we make faith a choice. Sometimes we just know things, and sometimes faith is a choice, whether we know for sure or not. And we make a choice of the kind of world we want to live in sometimes. Like when I say we believe that there's a spark of the divine in every human, I want to act as if that's the world I live in. I even want to act as if there's a spark of the divine in every being and in every tree and rock and blade of grass. But then I live in a world also where there's a spark of the divine in the cancer cell, and how do I live with that? I don't know. But that's the world I choose to live in and struggle with. So on what do you rely, and where do you feel home, and in what do you have faith? Do you have faith in the goodness of other people until they show you otherwise? Or do you have faith in your own goodness? Do you have faith in the ring of truth? Something you feel is true in your body and mind? Do you believe in the senses of your body? I did until last month when I pulled out making a left turn, and suddenly there was this gray car right in front of me. I had not hit it, but I might have if I'd gone a second sooner. And it was not there before, it just apparated right in front. It was that kind of gray, it was this kind of day, and it was that color. But still, you'd like to be able to trust your senses. Many Unitarian Universalists, when asked what they have faith in, they say, I have faith in the community. That's me too. I have faith in this community, and in the community of believers, I have faith that it's not just gathering together that brings us power, but gathering together is powerful. Rabbi Jesus said, where 2 or 3 of you are gathered, there I am in the midst of you. So there's something magical about gathering together. And I think gathering together with a shared mission is powerful. And that brings us a power that we would not have had otherwise. I think it's powerful to have a shared experience, and I think it's powerful to make a shared effort, and it's powerful to share words and to share songs, and it's powerful to share our stories and to share things we enjoy and go to parties together, and we enjoy ritual together and conversation together and shared history. There is power in trying to refine and strengthen our spirits, and there's power in nourishing one another's souls, and there's power in transforming our lives and those of others, and there's power in transforming the lives of institutions and cultures. Can we do it all by ourselves? I don't know. Probably not. Can we do it all of us together? Oh yeah. One of the things about becoming a spiritual and spirited person is broadening our sense of that word us. So look around you. This is us. But us is also the people who came to the first service, yes? Yeah, and us is also people who have used to come here and then moved away, right? That's still us. And us is people who used to be here and then passed on. And us is people in other UU congregations all across the country, would you say? And us, I want to say, us is people who aren't here yet. People who are yet to be born. People who are yet to move to Austin, and yet they're coming here really fast, so they'll be here soon. Are all of those people us as well? I think that we will be here in 5 years. I think we will be here in 10 years. I think we will be here in 50 years. Most of us look around and go, those of us who are individuals here, we're not going to be here in 50 years, probably. Although maybe some are. I will not be there. I eat too much bacon. I'm trying for my body and my brain to go at the same time. It's a delicate balance between health and self-destruction. And so the Unitarian Universalist Association is inviting us to think about leaving our legacy, leaving part of our treasure to us, to the us who will be here in 50 years. We want to see our values transmitted to the next generation. And yet, as the scholar who lives in my house, Kaya, says in her master's thesis on cultural studies, she says each generation hands their treasure to the next generation, who then smashes it into pieces gleefully and then builds it back in that generation's own way. Can we trust that the next generation will handle our treasure. Do we have faith in that? Do we have faith in us? That's the question I want to ask today. What do you rely on? What do you have faith in? And do you have faith in us? I have spoken too long for us to have this next hymn, so let's just say you wouldn't have liked it anyway. Okay. We tried it in the first service and it was kind of like, meh. So let there now be an offering taken to sustain and strengthen this place and its mission. If you're here for the first time, please be our guest and keep your money in your pocket. Your presence is a gift. If you've been here before, please be generous.
I think about Alonso Guillen again and again since Harvey made landfall. He was born in Piedras Negras. His father brought him across the border. Dream, dream. He grew up in an East Texas town, bought a house there, wanted a family. Working to be Alonso Guillen, American citizen, this side of the border. Dream, dream, the American dream. And when the waters rose after the hurricane, Alonso drove 2 hours to Houston, borrowed a boat and set out in the driving rain to save some strangers. On Wednesday night that boat went down. Alonso was found Sunday morning. His mother wipes a tear from her face, said he's gone to a place with no borders. Dream, dream, the American dream. Dream, 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 dream.
Blessings on you and the generosity in your hearts. If you remember the past couple Sundays, we've had a green survey form in the order of service. The information is very important. Our change team is working on moving this congregation toward being a more multicultural, multiracial congregation, working on us being safer people as we move toward that. And they need to know the demographics of the congregation, and they need some answers to the questions of how invested are you in this whole process. And so if you didn't fill one out already, they're going to be in the gallery with extra forms. Also, David, you remember, is in the gallery with information about Wake Now Our Vision. At 12:15, there's a Getting to Know You class if you're interested in the portable building South classroom. Roy will be at Trinity Methodist on Speedway this afternoon at 2:30. So bring the babies and grab the old ladies and go hear him sing. He also has CDs in the foyer. And we are a congregation who believes in supporting musicians while they're still alive. We also have first Sunday seminars at 1. One of them is about our stewardship program, what it's going to look like, and one of them is neurobiology and science discussion group, and I think that's it, but I'm not sure. If you want to be a black belt ninja in all things church, just read your order of service and everything is in there. How many days has it been raining? Like 14? It's good, right? It's good, it's good, it's good. We could move to Seattle and not even notice a difference. Please join with me in singing the benediction if you care to receive it that way. If not, just listen. Remember the way of the wind, and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, and sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water, and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth, and grow. Go in peace.